Good evening, good people, and welcome to Week 4, Race 1 in Fall League, the Melman Murder Mystery. I am Saracen, joined in the booth by Chronometrics. How you doing, Chrono?
Doing great, and we're in for the first first race of week 4 right now, which is the final week before the semifinals. And it's got some stuff going on, that's for sure. For those of you who haven't taken a look at the flag set yet, it is a 3-orb flag set. So there's only going to need 3 orbs to get into Dover. On top of that, it's complicated by the fact that enemies are tougher than normal, bosses are tougher than normal, there's a long Topher, and you get a bunch of forced characters to start with. So that's going to make a bunch of hurdles for these racers to get over.
Yeah, so our racers will start with a Forced Thief and White Mage tonight, as the first and fourth slots are the Forced. There's also a Forced Nun, and then a Runner's Choice in slot 2.
Not quite runner's choice. There's no black belt available in slot 2.
Well, yeah. However, the nun, or if you are so daring, you can replace one of your starting characters with characters that are gated behind fiends.
Which isn't necessarily a bad choice, because we know everyone's going to be grinding a little bit anyways, and that black belt might be the thing that carries you through a long Topher, especially if you can just start the black belt at level 20 and at the end of Sky Palace or something like that. It's a good way to get a grind going.
Yeah, and that can be really big if, for example, you start with the red mage and you find out, oh, I can't get faster temper because they're just not in the range. Um, Suddenly, that thief, even with its higher vitality and hit points in this particular seed, might not be the best carry. So we'll see what our runners choose to do, what they find as they go through. But because there's only 3 orbs required, and it's any 3, not specific, we could see some very interesting divergence here, as your go mode conditions can vary very much.
Speaking of red mage and black mage, it is notable that the blessings for black mage are -4 max MP as a penalty. Also, because they're cosplaying a fighter, they get to carry legendary swords and wear whatever shirt they want. So we have a little bit of a weird trade-off here between a worse than usual, or at least less spell utility than usual black mage, and the maybe this won't work out for us at all red mage.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some runners would choose to replace the white mage potentially. It all depends on how the runners feel with the magic that they find on their mages. If the thief just doesn't find a sword, uh, we'll have to see how that all pans out. We are, say, about a minute less than from the start of the race here. So, looking forward to seeing how our runners take this particular one to the finish line.
Yeah, another interesting aspect of this seed is that we start with Canoe. So we do have extended open progression on, so you can get to Dwarf Cave right away, but pretty much everyone is going to go straight to Provoca. This tends to mean that you'll find the ships early, so we could see an early ship, but if we don't, they might need to walk all the way around the inner sea, including the entire river maze, before they find a ship.
So that particular piece, the free canoe, is reminiscent of the spring tournament from last year, where we
They're
had
off, by
a
the way.
canoe start. Yeah, they are off, and we have a level 1 life and a bunch of garbage for the white magic.
But Temper
And
is in the black magic area, though there's no sweeper magic at the moment.
and we do
Uh,
not have improve lit ice fire, so that's pretty sad. This is going to be an interesting start. We do have a random AoE caster item at the start, though, so that thief has something in their inventory. We don't know what it is yet if people haven't opened their weapon and armor. Was that a usable cat claw in the store? There
uh,
was.
it is a usable cat claw. There's no one with cat claw ace, unfortunately, but if they don't find anything else, then they might come back for it. But let's be honest, even with no Maza, which is a thing in this particular flag set, you're gonna want something a little stronger than cat claw most of the time.
Well, cat claw +4 is actually passable, though. That's what I'm saying. That's so rare to say. Nice little bit of cash in the bottom left of Toph on Life Reboot side. We got Cyranus going straight after Garland. There was a light axe, which you can throw on the white mage. We do have the white mage harm all on, so that's great.
It's certainly a start. We do have an early canal. And a rod. It is important to know that our incentivized locations today are in Marsh and Cardia and Ice Cave and Waterfall.
Titans and Ordeals as well.
Titans are no deals as well. So, along with the Bahamut Horde, which is a flag that's on today, once you get the canal, we're going to likely be seeing most of these racers heading straight down to Bahamut Island to pick up a whack load of free treasure and an incentive item.
So I think that the routing on that is kind of a tricky question because you don't necessarily want to go to Bahamut without the tail for fear of having to go there a second time. So we'll see how runners choose to take that.
That's certainly true. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see. I don't want to give away all my secrets that I've researched.
Spare Thorhammer over in Matoya's closet.
No sweeping magic in the shops, but who needs it when you can make your whole party cast Light 2? I say that, but there's Lit 3 in Provoca, so basically it's a shocking start for everyone.
But
yeah. Also in Provoca, Wall in the White Magic shop. So that will be a maybe handy thing to have. You never know with Long Topher, especially with ribbons. When they find ribbons, it's great. If you don't find ribbons, White Mage does have death and poison resistance, so that's quite nice, but Wall might be a thing that you need to cast regardless.
Am I crazy in thinking I remember the White Mage having no ribbon as their malice?
That's a good question. They had no something as their malice, but was it no ribbon? White Mage did have no ribbon, yeah.
So one thing that I did appreciate from Life Reboot's side, when taking on Garland, the Red Mage was spamming Confuse while the Thief and the White Mage were holding up caster items. It's rare that you see level 1 Confuse taken, in my experience, but it's kind of a clever use to make sure that you don't have any problems with like Blaze Garland. Cyranus heading to the rivers.
Yep, which is, honestly the correct choice, right? The question is he going to hit up Ice Cave right away, or is he going to go down to Crescent Lake and leave Ice Cave as long as possible? Apparently he's going to get lost. That's what he's going to do.
This is a play to Crescent, and you know what? Yeah. I don't necessarily say that there's a right or wrong on this, because you can take the walk over to Marsh. Shumbabi taking the rivers as well. You can take the walk over to Marsh via Dwarf, get a couple chests on the way. It's less dangerous to do it that way, but we do have 2 Lit 2 caster items, so the Thor Hammers will put in work if we get a pack of Karibs or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
The real question is where ship is, especially with Canal out, right? And I'm putting my bets on Northwest Castle behind Astos.
All right, well, we got some dynamite from the Sages. Hate calling for the ship in ice. I've seen similar.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Typically in this particular flag set, depending on what goes on first, ship does tend to be earlier, but it can certainly not be. And then you're very sad.
I'll say I've been playing a lot of this flag set. I really enjoy the variance that comes with it. I had Floater in Elfland's shop earlier today, and the thought of that happening here would be kind of funny as well. Like, just bypass the ship entirely.
It can happen. I think the first time I ran this seed, and the only time I've run this seed as practice so far, I had ship and canal in Canaria, and then I immediately yeeted out to Cardia and picked up a floater right away there, which was hilarious because then I forgot that I had starting canoe, and so I went around looking for the canoe so I could pick up the floater. It's terrible.
Level 4 Fade and Cure 4, and the Cure 4 I think was Red Learnable.
Yeah, there's also Harm 3 and Fire 3, which were both Red Learnable as well on level 3.
I admit it. We got
Fade
the
is not. Fade wasn't red alertable. Cure 4
Fade
was
was
though.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fade was not. It was just a Cure 4. Admit it. We got the Ruby out of Bicky, so it is coming down to Ice Marsh or turning in that TNT.
Well, we have Cyrinus here going for Marsh right away, so we'll get an update on that in a couple minutes. Also important is checking the trap tiles. Leveling is going to be a thing that every party needs to do, whether or not they've got a black belt, and you're looking for A-side tiles. So that means ideally you want that coveted eye tile, but maybe you get a set of Agamas, or horrifically some zombie dragons, or frost dragons, or red dragons to carry you through. But we'll see what they find and whether or not they choose to try to give it a shot, just to gain a few levels to get the ball rolling.
You know, I'm not necessarily super focused on getting a spike tile this early, especially with the Thief lead. If we're finishing the seed with the Thief as our melee carry, I'd stick to the 3-man and, hope that I get Chime and Cube so that I can do Sky for the levels. But we'll have to see where that ends up.
So, I mean, there is the interesting aspect of replacing a character, right? Like, so especially with Thief, you like it for the running, you like it for the free lockpicking, but if you've already found the key, and there's a black belt when you finish off Sky or Sea, and you don't need to have that Thief that much anymore, then maybe you swap out the Thief for the black belt, right? Or a fighter, if you happen to have some incredibly good gear for the fighter as well. It's an option.
It is
you
an
get
option
to preserve those levels, right? It's
right.
a spicy play.
And I definitely understand that. I'm also just a huge fanboy for the Thief / Ninja. You know, if you get a nice uprolled katana, which is almost never the case when you bring a Thief, then, we'll see. And the other thing to keep in mind, and Jesus the Frog bringing it up in chat, is, being able to skip out on the key if you don't find it, because with any 3 orbs setup, you can actually skip a ton of locations, and it becomes an interesting strategic game at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, a lot of it is dependent on what you do find, and because the enemies are tougher, and the trap tiles are tougher, and the bosses are tougher, running is just going to be very helpful. So having a Thief in your party is a valid third character if you just end up with 3 at the start. It's not the worst thing in the world to take 2 melee and 1 mage.
Exactly. We did just get our ship, so that's nice. Thunder werewolves, though. Ew.
So Cyrinus is going to be the first one who can head out of the inner sea, and Shumbabi not far behind.
Well, that is predicated on getting out of here first.
Oh yes, whether or not they wipe. The scripts have some annoying statuses that have been randomized, so it is entirely possible to be like these ghouls and have crack or poison on everything and just wipe the entire team in one turn. Yep. Hooray! Which, is gonna happen in the seed probably more than half the times you run. There's just gonna be some nasty script battles that give you some random wipes.
I like how Shumbabi just went off to that top right chest on the bottom floor, way off in the distance, because he doesn't yet know about the terrors that await him on the way out. And getting just a pure for it.
I mean, you get lucky and you can get away with whatever, right? That's the name of the game in the randomized world.
And there's the ambush crack.
Oh my goodness. White mage, I thought you were supposed to resist death.
Well, that's Earth, unfortunately. So
I know. Just death in general, right?
So, here's my thought process. I maybe give it 1 or 2 more attempts if I'm either of those guys. And if it doesn't work out, I actually would want to see what the TNT turns into, rather than ramming my face into this marsh.
I'm total facial rammer here. You can't get away without this ship. crack is never going to get easier, right? You've got to get
TNT
through
could be
this.
floater. TNT could be floater.
It, like, you're asking for the moon there.
I am. And you know what? NASA exists.
But they
Jeff
don't own the moon.
Bezos has
does
gone
own
up
the
into
moon.
space.
Yeah, he does own the moon. He's purchased it, so therefore. Nice joke, Pickles, by the way. Not sure that's appropriate for on stream, but I love it. Okay.
Cyrinus is out!
Yep. First person to make it out of Mars safely. Very nice. Though Shumbabi's looking pretty close. Last time they were a few steps away. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, not far to go. Life Reboot might have a little bit of easier time just for having the extra MDEF of leveling up on Peninsula Power for the last little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of like the levels aren't necessarily going to help that much, but can you do? So I'm on team go to Cardia first after leaving Inner Sea, but you weren't that hot on that. What's your take?
My take is I do Ordeals before I consider going into Cardia because I want the tail before I go to Bahamut's Horde and, see where that goes. We get the Oxyale out of the TNT turn-in. Okay. That's an option.
A great pickup.
So what I like about that is we had level 3 Brack. C is extremely fast if you're skipping the chests, but I mean, you're going to take at least a couple of the chests on the way through. So you can waterfall, get levels there, house outside of Onrak, and just walk to Kraken and Brack him, and out the door. You got an orb. We get the slab out of Bahamut as Shimbabi is making that check.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we see Cyrinus stopping by Melmond. Shumbabi hasn't gone back to turn in the TNT yet, presumably waiting to pick up an Adamant, maybe.
Or the key. Runesword plus 4.
Runesword plus 4 is fine.
It's a passable weapon for the thief for
Yeah.
single target damage, and we have Temper to back it up.
It'll get you through a few fiends, that's for sure. Especially if we're going Kraken first, if he does pick up the Oxyale, that's a melee option to support your Brack if Brack doesn't work out.
And the Red Mage does have Invis 2, if I'm recalling correctly, in the level 8 slots. So you do have a little bit of evasion buffing. You could just swing up Rune plus 4 at Kraken until he falls over.
Cyrinus here taking the Sarda Ruby route, using their early Titans to go straight through. Did they not check Titan's Trove? They forgot to check Titan's Trove.
They were doing the save outside and reset if it's bad.
I see. But it is in fact Herb and Gold Bracelet, which are both quite respectable pickups. Was that +3 or -3 on the gold?
I believe it was -3.
Okay, that's less respectable. I respect you less, gold. We'll see what's in Sarda now as well.
Did JLo just one-shot this marsh? Did JLo dodge all of the stuff?
Well, I mean, there's yeah, it looks like it.
Heck yeah.
It's not improbable. And what did we get from Sarda? I missed over that one. What did our sage give us? Some item, some equipment, some gear, I think. Floater.
Jace.
So Cyrinus first on stream to pick up a floater from the Sage of Sarda. Dark Twinge calling the correct route in chat. So good for you. And let's go take a trip through the skies.
So getting the floater in that position is like instantly de-incentivizing ordeals to me. I like to go to ordeals when I can sail there and use the canoe dock.
Honestly, I don't agree. I think ordeals without warp is one of the saddest dungeons to do, and I will avoid it like the plague until I get warp.
Well,
I
I mean,
just
warp is a very nice thing to have for it, but I mean, floater versus ship, like having airship and having to land way off in the distance and walk the entire way is less appealing to me than if I can sail there and like handle it via docks. Because
that's certainly a reasonable position to take.
because you get a nice flow when you get the northern docks on. If you do ordeals, you stop by Bahamut Cardia, then you go over to Onrak, you do your waterfall, you do sea, and then you're like done with that portion.
Well, people saying they would sail to ordeals first to finish off ordeals when it's still easy. So right now, actually, Cyrinus is almost good to go, right? Like, we've got Rod, we've got Oxyale, we have Volcanoes, so they don't need any more cubes or chimes. They're just looking for loot. That's all they need.
Pro Ring -3 is very sad to see, but you know what? At least it is a Pro Ring that was affordable, and Life Reboot stocked up, so...
That's true, and you take what you can get, right? Loot and a grind. This is true. Haven't checked many grinds yet, but there are quite a few grind tiles in Earth and in Sea to go through, and if we're going through those anyways, we might have some good options available to us. Not to mention, we do have Thief lockpickings on. If we get to 15, Northwest Castle's right there, real easy check.
Cyrinus going to turn in a crown. Astos, what do you have for us today? Oh, Ribbon! That's actually probably the best result you could have out of Astos.
Can't complain.
Was that a mute touch out of Astos? Really?
He's just making sure that he can't use those Zeus, or the Thor hammers, I should say, right? You know, very scared.
Right.
You're not worthy, just like in the movie. We have Shumbabi up here, picking up the floater, going straight to Gaia. Doesn't have the bottle as far as I know, just checking the item shop. Item shop has tail in it. So there we go. Unfortunate for them, because they have already visited Bahamut, but honestly, like, first person to pick up the tail means they have that many more choices. Also, seeing as they did have a slab, they're going to stop by Lefane on the way, pick up some spells, probably. Interesting that they chose to do this before promoting, just in case they wanted some ninja spells. Temper is available for the ninja. So it's not a bad plan to upgrade, especially if you're not planning to move into Black Belt at this point.
There's a cube out of there, which, yeah, Shumbabi immediately just resetting out. I think the play there was less about let's find out what, or let's get our magic situated, and more about let's find out if this is the right incentive location to chase after.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, everyone's looking for loot, right? So it's almost certainly going to turn in. Everyone's hoping it's not an ice cave.
Shumbabi started the walk over to Ordeals and was like, wait a minute, I can get levels there. I should stop and promote first.
Can't hurt. Anything else nice going on here? Speaking of levels, that's something I don't see on screen anywhere yet. No one's managed to find a decent grind. Life Reboot has pushed the Peninsula of Power just a little bit, but you know, you'd like to see something better. Cyrinus heading over to Volcano.
Cyrinus was about level 8, I think.
That's correct. They're at level 8 at the moment. Which is way too low for me. I'm not comfortable at level 8.
This is a disappointing encounter to see, since were these the ones that had crack?
No, it was the ghouls that had crack.
Okay.
But we do have quite a few different trap tiles in here to check. And just the regular encounters in Volcano have a few decent XP hits, so you can pick up some levels along the way.
That is the wrong eye. Please leave.
That one's sick. It has red eye, pink eye.
Mm.
Don't want to touch it. J-Lo heading over to Earth first, along with Life Reboot, both taking that path. Seeing what they can pick up from Lich. Lich may be a bit of an easier pass through than Carry.
So
So not
Cyrano is
unreasonable.
very disappointed with this volcano armory, and I don't blame him for that. That was not a great volcano. But headed back in now that the boxes have been looted, using the house to get all the charges back after getting a couple fights down.
We do have a Zombie D tile over in Ordeals, if that's correct. Did I see that tile?
Was it a tile or was it a random encounter? It was a random encounter.
It was not a title.
That's a Gershark Arsahag tile? Or Wizsahag? It's not Gershark Big Eye because we don't have B-sides on.
Yeah, it's the Wizards of Hags. So that's a possibility. It's not fast, but it's not slow either. Did push them up to level 15, so they're highest in levels at the moment. And yeah, Vampire has a white shirt. We do have a blue dragon tile. This is a tile for sure.
It's a tile that exists. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't
Nope.
like the blue D as an encounter.
I think it's sometimes worth taking, especially if you have as much lightning, or yeah, is it lightning
Fire.
or fire? Fire.
Fire.
If you have fire, you can take a couple double blue dragon hits off the tiles and just pump yourself up a few levels to make your better grind tiles better later.
Not checking Lich's Armory on Life Reboot's side.
Nope.
And Cyranus pulling in to carry. Dangerous fight here.
We do have Fade, we do have a Rune +4. We do have Tempers if we need Tempers, but we just got chopped.
So
Red Mage absolutely decapitated.
So my concern when we're talking about carry one in this situation is the boss scaling, because we have 100 to 200% HP, meaning that carry goes up to 1200 potentially.
Yeah.
Ick.
And right there we saw Carry just physical hitting 3 turns in a row, each one doing 500 damage.
Yep.
Not something you can deal with. Basically a Kraken cosplay at that point.
All right, Life Reboot takes out Lich. Let's take a look at what our optional character is here. That is a white mage, I believe. So
White mage,
skipping
yes.
out.
He's
I
happy with that.
understand and agree.
I see. Did we see the optional character for Carry?
I didn't.
Neither did I. That's fine. Yeah, thanks to our lovely tracker, Pickles and Beer, it's Thief.
So Shimbabi just picked up the, I believe, bottle out of Ordeals into the Chime. Now is heading back and getting the cube from Lefane and getting the spell stuff taken care of. Potentially getting the cube. I would, because I really like Sky for levels. Life 2, level 6, very helpful spell to have there.
It is convenient to go through Sky and just fight some things, especially on the Bridge of Destiny, but I think I'm more a fan of the trap tiles that are available in Sea Shrine. Especially, you get that eye tile, you're good to go. But there's not much else in Sky Palace for you if you're looking for a real good solid grind, right?
It's less about looking for a specific grind, and just the encounters along the way tend to be okay.
Yeah.
I like manticores, I like chimeras, I like eyes, I like Gurmedusas. We have level 4 fades, so I don't mind seeing rock goals. There's all sorts of things in Sky. Fighters are great. Whiz Vamps. Always appreciate some Whiz Vamps.
Yep, some updates on spells. So let's see. Sorry, we have Fast over on level 8 is what we assume. We've got Nuke over on level 7. We got Invis 2, which is going to be on level 7 as well. Exit's up there. Warp's on 5. Life 2's on 6. Heal 3's on 7. So quite a lot of stuff that is just completely outside of Red Wizard, Red Mage area and into White Wizard, Black Wizard area. So promoting is maybe a thing that everyone wants to do. Definitely some hard-to-reach spells that are very nice to have in the Long Topher. Especially as we haven't seen the likes of a Power Bonk yet. Life Reboot giving Volcano a try.
Life Reboot has the levels to pull it off, I think.
It's true. They're already at, 17, if I recall correctly? So they're ahead of the game in levels, and HP is definitely king in survivability.
Well, and hopefully the Red Mage lives long enough to pop off those Invis 2s.
Speaking of important things, Key was picked up, and while it's not necessarily critical to get the key, it is certainly an option because it means that you can swap your thief out if you need to swap the thief out for an early option. So you can swap it for a fighter if you find a particularly good Excalibur or Vorpal. You can swap it for a black belt if you find a bunch of garbage trash or nothing at all. You have those options now, which is a thing. That's about it. It's a thing.
Coral Sword +3. That's a nice find on Life Reboot's side. Shimbabi finds the eye tile. It's in Northwest, the safest place.
It's a fantastic trap tile and a fantastic location to have it. So hopefully the other races will pick up on that, but we'll see who gets there soon.
Warning, warning, it has Blizzard.
Oh no.
Slap that ribbon on the ninja, let everybody else die. Please and thank you. I think Shimbabi has the ribbon on the ninja.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, even getting a couple supplementary levels on the mages here is fine for the position that Shimbabi's in. JLo going to check the hall, or Cyranus going to check the Hall of Giants. Frosty tile. It's not bad. I take Frosties. Not so much the fires. JLo opted to take that second white mage.
Yeah, that's just filling out the team, perhaps, trying to get some experience on it, and maybe swap it out with something nicer in the future. Might be the plan.
Yeah, could get decent levels on it to pass it on to something else. Could just be taking it as a defensive option for the Long Topher.
Yeah, or an extra super with the Fade is available, right? So you get two Fades, you can get through many Fiends just with that, regardless of what goes on.
My personal hope, if I was going to keep that second white mage, is get a couple levels on it, and then hopefully it gets stoned and it just stays that way until, there's an emergency in Topher.
That's a classic. It's a good one.
I'm always a fan of that one. All right, Shimbabi almost has the white mage down.
So Life Reboot showing us that this carry has rolled as close to 200% as it could possibly be, doing over 1,000 damage to it and still getting wiped. They're in for a rough Volcano. This is now JLo wiping on Volcano as well. That's 3 out of our 4 racers. Everyone who's been there has wiped in Volcano. Real rough run.
Yeah, I'd be looking elsewhere at this point. Now, I will say that JLo and Life Reboot are sitting in the position of not having the chime in the cube, and therefore can't go into Mirage Sky and do that as an option yet. Could be opting to really try not to go there, but we'll see. I just like the idea of getting out of bad situations and making progress, and a tough carry fight is a long walk to wipe on.
That's certainly true. Speaking of more interesting things, I don't know if this is traditional or not, but there are 10 racers in this race, and I do like to check in on some of our other racers, and since 30 minutes have passed, got a little bit of a summary of some other racers for other teams, if your teammates are hanging out in the channel here and want to know how it's going. Dead Pulse, doing quite good, already got the airship doing a Frost Dragon grind over an Earth Cave before going through with the clear. Already pretty far along. Fred Fooch, already done a bit of a grind against some Gersharks, also going through Earth Cave at the moment. Speeding along quite well. Over here, Adam, ADR, is going through Earth Cave, hasn't yet gotten the grind, but I think stopped at Northwest Castle and picked up a few levels on the eye there, if I recall correctly. And Ike here just picking up the floater right now, and moving out to the outer world looking to promote. So, you know, if you're on those teams, you can go and check out their streams as well and make sure that you cheer your teammates on, because it really feels nice to have your teammates check in on you. Back on the main stream here, we have Cyrenus clearing up Earth Cave, and Life Reboot having a big sad over against Carrie in the upper right. Who knows if they'll squeak through or not, but...
I think Life Reboot rused up.
You're right, they just dodged three smacks. So that's definitely a thing, and they've moved off of the fades to save that single Cure 4 for themselves. So they're going to harm 3 them for 94 damage through what looks like at least 600 HP here.
Hey!
And they made it. That's great. Good job. So first to clear Volcano, pretty much. Life Reboot. Let's go. Well done. No one found the loot yet, so that's still outstanding. There's still some turn-ins that are going to have to be done.
Life Reboot ran out of housing. Solved problem. Huzzah!
Just visit the inn. It's fine. It's you can get a nice bath.
The tricky part is that Life Reboot parked the airship in technically the wrong spot on the south side of the volcano and had to walk a step. So there was that real fearful moment of, do I get that one step encounter as I come out of volcano? But survived. Life Reboot has survived.
Just made it. Shubabi still picking up levels at the eye.
Level 40 on the thief.
Yeah, they're going all the way, right? Like it's what, another single minute, 2 minutes, and if you're planning on keeping the thief, or even if you're planning on swapping over to Black Belt, that minute will be made up again in Topher, right?
So, yeah, stopping at 42, which I get it. We've got a lot of things that you can potentially play off of here. It could be that you find a decent katana or vorpal and you're just fine with the thief. You find a black belt in one of the dungeons, that's fantastic too. We'll see where things land.
It gives you the options, and the options are good when you don't know what can happen, especially when you know that like stuff could be really tough going through Topher, and you'd be very sad to have to redo the whole dungeon over again. So.
I appreciate that somehow Shimbabi only needed 5 heal potions after that grind. Like, I know there was it heat into Blizzard on the eyes? Just it stopped being material at some point.
Well, they did go out and house a few times in the middle, right? Like, so it's not they went all the way to 42. Because every 5-10 levels they went out and just hit up the house.
I don't know. That doesn't seem like a Shimbabi thing to do, but maybe.
I saw it. It's on video.
Oh jeez.
Can't prove anything. Yeah, what else we got here? Still looking for that. We got Shumbabi diving into Earth or Ice Cave, hoping for that loot now. Nobody's heading for the third fiend just yet.
So JLo just looted out part of the Agama floor and is walking the loot out. Loot, not Lute.
Yeah, they did wipe a couple times, so they might just be not sure that they have enough.
Oh, only the thief is just standing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
It was the zombies with crack.
maybe they both have crack. Who knows?
Medusa
With
script.
with random statuses being added to any script, you never know.
Well, if it's on the Medusa script, then
Yeah.
it's possible. The Great Escape has occurred. Cyrnus going through ice, so is Shumbabi.
What else is left? Anyone hit up Ordeals? Yeah, we did see an Ordeals hit.
Ordeals was bottle into the chime.
Right.
So I think ice has to be our loot.
No, I don't think that's correct.
Opal
Right.
+2 there.
What else is left? Adamant turn in? Adamant's still somewhere?
Yep, that could be.
But ice can have adamant, right? So that's
a
thing. Adamant is in ice, even. Here we go.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I should have known that. Shumbabi had warp.
Yep, we've got adamant turn in for loot is what we're looking at, and then that'll be the go mode for pretty much everyone. Proof. There it is. Okay, so Shumbabi, whose name has been changed to Neumbabi.
Yeah.
Don't think I didn't notice that.
I was just about to comment on that. Wonder who in the tracking room decided on that. Katana +4.
Katana +4, that's enough to go all the way with the thief. Can't complain. Still got a lot of orbs to go, but...
Alright, so Cyrnus getting the loot as well. Life Reboot is currently in an orb lead, but definitely needs the levels and has not figured out the get the adamant to get the loot piece yet.
Cyrnus heading over, looking for that eye tile and gonna find it, so that's great.
Finding the slime tile first, which is, a thing.
Well, watch him level off the slime tile before moving on. That'd be.
I've done worse. I do feel like you have to check it, like the other tile, before you go on, but
Shumbabi's still full checking chests. Not sure what he's looking for at this point.
If I were to guess, it's hoping to get the ruse stick, the power gauntlet, and possibly another ribbon.
Those zombies cracked or did not crack, they ran away. But yeah, more ribbons would be good, ruse stick would be good, power gauntlet would be good. But also, he's got a level 42 ninja with a +4 katana, so it's not the saddest in the world. There's a white shirt, so he does have access to Invis 2, right?
Yeah.
Did Shumbabi get that white shirt? It was in Earth Cave?
Shumbabi has not been into Earth Cave yet. It was at the vampire
okay, so
chest.
they don't have the white shirt yet, so... and Invis 2 itself was, what, level 7, if I recall correctly?
It sounds right. Looks like a red mage behind Kraken.
Big on mages. Yeah, there's actually 10 people racing against each other, and these are our 4 featured racers today. This is part of the Fall League tournament, which there will be 4 races, 1 race for each team member of 10 teams. They will all race on the same seed with the same flag set for each week. The winners get points. The teams with the most points will get into the semifinals, which start next week. And then the winners of the semifinals will move on to the big finals for a giant relay race, which is pretty cool, to be honest. So look forward to that coming up in the next couple weeks.
Oh, Life Reboot taking a wipe on Kraken as even with 3 evade stacks up, the white mage just got meleeed down, and then the red mage got spells and skills thrown at it until it fell over.
Yeah, I mean, down in the lower right, we have Cyrinus here, who's fighting Carry again, and Carry proving just how difficult they are this time. Where even with a high-leveled party with great gear and still getting possibly wiped, maybe wiped. Oh, real close.
Well, that is 2 orbs now for Cyrinus.
Joining the 2 orb gang.
One thing I did notice with Life Reboot was
more levels. Nice.
Well, went into the Kraken fight, Invis 2 rused up on the first round, and then the white mage was going to hold up a Bane sword in hopes of stoning, but unfortunately, just did not work out. Shumbabi checking the Mirage 1 chests.
Yep.
I get it. These are pretty quick.
Cyrinus deciding level 20, definitely not enough to go into Tover with. Or even necessarily Sea Shrine.
Well, conveniently, the red mage and the white mage were already dead. So
yeah, it's
this is the perfect time. The perfect time to look at spike tiles for your ninja.
Well, we'll pull them in for an interview later, and they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I killed them off on purpose." I was like, "Carrie can take care of them." Diciest play.
You know what though? You got to risk it. As Deadpool says, you got to double down on bad decisions, and here we are. It paid out.
Speaking of which, this could be a slower seed than we're used to seeing in this flag set. Typically, we're looking at 55 minutes to 105 for the first racer on this kind of flag set is what I'm estimating. So this one might be a little bit slower than that, just based off of the amount of wipes that they had in Carry and Marsh.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've seen a 46 in one of the practices. The Duckling Weekly for last week, Deadpool's posted a 46 and change on that seed. So,
a lot of it depends on when you get that ship, right? Like, there's actually only a few checks for ship and canal in the inner sea that you can get to pretty quickly. And it's fairly common. It's like, I don't know, something like 20-something% of the time that you get the ship before leaving Provoca. And you can get the canal right away as well. So, like, you get one of those early on, and suddenly the whole inner sea section that they all spent 20 to 30 minutes on disappears, right?
I mean, part of it's that. But in the current randomization setup, the ship and canal are not guaranteed to be in the inner sea if you have canoe and floater in the inner sea. So
this is true.
You have that as an option as well. Shumbabi really focused on these boxes. I don't know. I feel with a katana +4, a ribbon. I saw an ice +1 armor, and there's a second katana. I don't know that I feel particularly concerned about finishing out the seed. The Black Mage has legendary swords, so
yeah. We got Ninja and Tiny Ninja running his back up there. Shumbabi's still very concerned, still checking chests, still hasn't found the gear that they're looking for, they're hoping for.
I'm sure it has to be the Ruse Stick or the Power Gauntlet at this point are the concerns. Ruse Stick can get you through so many of these encounters with the scaling on the bosses. That all makes sense to me. That Black Mage just swung for like 175, 3 hits. Go, little man, go. There's a mech. We're taking it. We take those.
I see a defense sword, by the way. I kind of feel like I saw one somewhere, and I don't remember. I want to say Volcano. But I don't know if anyone actually... Maybe I'm mixing this up with a previous race.
I don't recall seeing it, but I mean, I miss all sorts of things when I'm casting, so
It's difficult keeping track of multiple races. That's for sure. That's why we have such a great team of trackers kicking us off and helping us in the back with our secret list of all the cool information that makes us look really intelligent when we say it on stream, like we were absolutely able to track everything.
Well, Rip Mages, we're now going solo thief against the Tiamat as the War Mech took out both the White and Black Mage.
Yeah, that's a mood, that's for sure.
And that's a Black Mage behind Tiamat. So there's no fighter and there's no black belt in this
There's
seed.
no fighter, there's no black belt. You've got just a thief. That's it.
Nuns do not gain experience in this flag set. So if you pick up an extra character, it's going to be level 1. Chanigan, I wouldn't worry so much about the no fighters part because we have a Katana +4 and a plus vitality plus hit point thief. So it probably will be fine.
Yeah, and there is a really convenient eye grind over at Northwest Castle, so like you can get that thief to whatever level you want it to be.
Shumbabi did pick up the second Black Mage, probably because level 1 temper.
Yeah, and just like having some nice security for Topher is going to be a little bit helpful.
Vibrasa, this is actually a race, and we have 4 of our 10 racers displayed on stream here. They're all playing the same version of the game. They all have the same seed, but they are all going up against each other, seeing who is going to be the fastest in this particular seed.
Speaking of fastest, we have Cyrenus coming up to Kraken, which is pretty much the last thing they need, assuming they know to turn in the Adamant, which they may or may not know. And it looks like this is going to be a much easier fight than the carry fight. Not even hitting as hard as the carry, which is pretty unusual for the Kraken, that's for sure.
So not hitting as hard, but there's definitely been some concerns. There was damage poison and quite a few damaging spells and skills just being thrown around. So we'll see. But Cyrenus takes down Kraken. That is Orb 3 for Cyrenus. Life Reboot had taken down Kraken a little bit ago and is doing the ice play now to get that Adamant.
Picking up a Red Mage here, same reason as the Black Mage. Red Mage does have access to Temper right away, does have access to Life right away on number 1, so good to have an extra one of those in your back pocket, especially you've already leveled up your Thief at the eyes. So those are some nice spells to just keep in... I just said back pocket. I can't say back pocket again.
Thank you, Shimbabi, for carbonating Bubbles. Bubbles Soda Company thanks you.
So I guess now is about the time where we start feeling out how confident these racers are, right? Like, they're going to be walking around, they're going to be trying to pick up their spells, getting their parties ready for Topher. Shumbabi, interestingly, choosing to go fire, water, and air as their orbs, and not run through Earth.
Earth is so many steps. Like, I really don't like Earth if I can avoid it. And I understand the play entirely. It's just so long. Um, it,
It's interesting that you say that because as a new racer, I took one look at Earth and I'm like, this is shorter than sea, this is shorter than sky, and didn't think much of it. And now I'm going to have to go back and count the number of tiles it takes to go through without full clearing each of these things to see how many steps each one is.
so I definitely, when I'm going through C in this flag set specifically, I am completely ignoring mermaids and I'm skipping virtually every box on the way to Kraken. And so, there's really nothing going on.
Racers are still looking for stuff in chests, though. So, and Cyrnus deciding that his high-level thief is not enough on its own. Got to level a little bit of everyone.
I understand that.
Yeah, get that level 1 red mage up to, what, like 16 or so? Maybe give it a few more spell casts. Let it survive a single hit.
All right, Life Reboot getting the Katana of Glory here. Oh, replacing a Vorpal -1. Oh, that's an improvement. So Life Reboot's just in go get some levels mode.
How many katanas is that, by the way? Is that 3 katanas? 3 different katanas we've seen now?
I believe there should only be 2. There's one in Dwarf Armory and there was one in Sky. And I think
Okay,
it's only
yeah.
2 unless you have randomized treasure.
Gotcha.
There's the power gauntlet. Okay. Oh, there's another ribbon. Okay. It turns out that Sharknado Floor is the play here. Wow.
That's some pretty good pickups.
And an Agama tile.
I don't know why we would need an Agama tile at this point.
We don't on Shimbabi's side. We've got this is 47, 48 now, something like that, Ninja. It's, just supplemental experience for the
Level
Black
1 Black
Mage.
Mage, yeah. Babby Black Mage checking in. Trying to get all grown up. I wasn't paying attention, but at some point Life Reboot did go and turn in the Adamant for the loot, so that makes them now officially in actual go mode instead of just pretend I know where everything is go mode. And they've chosen Frost Dragons as their grind over an Earth Cave. Never went to Northwest Castle, never found the eye.
That happens.
Yeah. Only so much you can do.
So one thing that I have not seen, and that makes me guess that it's somewhere dumb like Gaia, is fast. I've seen Tempers come out, and we see Brax coming out now on Shimbabi's side. I haven't seen fast.
Yeah, it's in Gaia 8. We saw when they checked Lefane that it wasn't in there, and we had already seen the other one, so it's got to be in Gaia.
Ew.
Yeah, not having fast to go through Temple of Fiends is definitely one of the sadder options. So if you can pick it up, especially since promoting is just something that has happened this seed to pretty much everyone, you're going to want to.
JLo making the mermaids play as well, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you need stuff, right?
Life Reboot has located the eye. Okay.
Frost Dragon's too slow. Might as well go make a few other checks, I suppose. Looks like Shumabi is first to head into Temple of Fiends, decided everything is ready. So off they go. They're rocking the 48 Ninja and the level 11 Babi Black Mage. Everyone else somewhere in between, like some kind of level ice cream sandwich. Ice cream sandwiches being the superior sandwich to all other sandwiches, I'm pretty sure. You can argue about that in chat if you like. Checking his... Oh no, never mind. That was just the layout.
Shimbabi actually replaced the Black Mage with a Red Mage, probably just for the extra hit points that it would have and the availability of life at level 1.
Oh yes, that's right. Life at level 1 is real big, honestly. Like having 2 lifers.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut butter and jelly. I mean, it's a classic to be sure, but I'm sure you can do better than that.
Cuban. The Cuban sandwich is a fantastic sandwich.
There's actually a really lot of good sandwiches. I don't want to get into a tangent about sandwich. I have way too much to talk about with sandwiches. Let's take a look. So, Life Reboot's still grinding. Cyrenus stopped their grind, going for a brief shopping trip in the Fane, picking up spells for their red mages, or red wizards, I suppose. Since last time they were here, they only had the mages. And JLo working their way through Sea Shrine, trying to pick up that Kraken and hopefully a few bits of extra gear that they need.
Meanwhile, Shimbabi pulling up to Lich 2.
Let's see how tough they are. Lich not usually deserving a lot of respect by the time you come around here.
Can I just say real quick, that Black Mage, the first swing was like 280 something damage with that second Katana. So like about 2/3 of what the ninja did on the ninja's first swing. I love it.
I mean, he's casting the single target spell Slash.
Cast Sword.
Doing some position swaps before moving into carry. Try to avoid Kung Fu carry's second coming, presumably.
A Blade of Meat Shield Red Mage is doing the job. Not doing the job well enough. It's okay. No. It was very, very small hit.
Carry, honestly, like a bowl, just attacks the sprite that has the most red on it, which in this case is the ninja. 852 damage. That'll be enough to go right through.
That's a 49 ninja.
Yeah. We have Cyrenus here, ready to go, finished all their shopping trip, heading into Temple of Fiends as well. Not quite as high level, if I recall correctly, they didn't go quite as far, but pretty well set up, should be able to make it through without much problems. Got a few mages. Mages got their own chunk of HP going on, should be pretty good. Life Reboot also doing their own shopping over at Canaria, decided that that Temper and Life were the most important spells. Maybe not even heading to Lefane to pick up anything else, just going straight to Tover. Going to be third on stream into Tover.
First turn nuke out of Kraken.
White Mage is still alive, though. You get out of here with that White Mage, you're in good shape.
Okay, we've survived the Kraken 2 encounter, the White Mage is alive, the life spells are coming out, and it is time to chug potions like our life depends on it.
Racers pretty close to each other, actually. we'll see how things play out, but we're getting close to the finish line here, and we got Shumbabi in the upper left, fighting Lich, going piece by piece, tempering their level probably 50 by the end of this ninja. We got Life Reboot in the upper right, moving through the beginning of Temple of Fiends, getting their self going, doing pretty strong. We have Cyranus in the bottom right, just finished off Lich there as well, if I recall correctly. In Temple of Fiends, just a little bit behind. All moving pretty fast. Life Reboot's just fighting Lich now as well. Cyranus running up to carry. Shumbabi, looks like the ruse has been enough to get right through Tiamat here. Lots of heal strats going on. Black Mage carrying its own weight with that +4 katana continuously. Just hits Tiamat for 150 to 200 damage every turn for no reason at all.
And down goes Tiamat too.
It's hilarious to watch that our level 50 ninja get occasionally out-damaged by that level 23 Black Mage.
Crits be like that.
Yeah. Just
Meanwhile,
like 3 tempers and 25 levels is not enough sometimes.
JLo, meanwhile, keeps throwing out the Brax, and the Kraken is just not having it. Will not have his breakfast.
Oof. Pulling into Chaos, over in the upper left, Shumbabi, currently in first position, going as fast as their little fingers can fly. Walling up, tempering up, bruising up, doing the best they can to prepare for this Chaos. Let's see if they have anything nasty in store. We got a stun.
Free turn.
Yeah. So far, a pretty tame Chaos compared to some of the other bosses. Sometimes you just get one turn zapped by Thunder, though, but low HP, actually. Shumbabi going to finish off Chaos in first place, both on stream and off stream, with an official time of 1:03:27. So congratulations, Shumbabi, on your first place finish. Bin 1, absolute first, absolute domination, well raced, well run. Coming in off stream, also in bin 1, just a few seconds behind, Dead Pulse finishing at a time of exactly 1:04. Down in the lower right, we have Cyranus moving on past his next fiend, and Life Reboot just hitting up Kraken, only a few steps behind. And we're pulling someone in for an interview. Shumbabi?
Hello, Shumbabi. GG.
Hello, hello.
You seemed very loot goblin-y tonight. Was there a need of a ruse stick in your mind?
There was a ruse stick, a power gauntlet, a ribbon. I would have taken a white shirt. I would have taken anything that would have gotten me through there. And I did make use of that power gauntlet at least once, so that was nice.
The white shirt, humorously, was hiding behind Vampire and Earth.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go to Earth. There was no chance I wanted. Especially when I saw the cube and then picked up the chime, like, incidentally, it was like, all right, I can skip Earth here.
I'm with you on that. I don't like how many steps it is to get through Earth.
Well, it's not just the trek in Earth with the werewolves that had, I don't know what they had, thunder or something, and then
thunder.
Crack on the ghostly figures. Like, I just wasn't about to keep trying to res my party and run away from a 9-pack with just a ninja.
That's fair. Speaking of just a ninja, we saw you level up to 42 at the eye. Planning for a potential black belt pickup?
It was definitely there, and then my thought process was, well, if I find a weapon, I've got a 42 ninja, and now it can swing something, because I haven't found fast yet. And once I found the katana, I mean, even if I had found the black belt after that katana, I don't think I would have taken it because the crit on it would just be through the roof, and a black belt's not really guaranteed there without the fast to like make sure it hits.
It is hard to turn down a katana +4, that's for sure. Fast over in Gaia, level 8.
It was very sad.
I got it, and the black mage never got a charge of it.
This is a rough seed for red mages, to be honest.
I definitely enjoyed picking it up towards the end because I was tired of that 5 magic point cap on the black mage.
On screen, Cyrenus pulling into Chaos themselves. Currently in second on our stream for thing. Let's see if you can pull this off. Chaos luckily didn't have too many tough things in the script that we saw on your end, Shumbabi. Is there any concerns that you had pulling into the end of Temple of Fiends?
Well, I hadn't seen Zap yet. That's always a concern of mine, and I wasn't sure that I was going to get wall off on the white mage enough to keep me up in case Chaos had nuke as it does, which fortunately I did miss. But yeah, I wasn't very confident, and then it hit me for like 80 on an unbuffed ninja, and I was like, okay, we're just swinging here.
Also, Life Reboot also pulling into Chaos.
Getting the ablative meat shield upright. Very important first step.
Oh, straight back down again. Luckily, Chaos, not too hefty. Unlike that carry 1, I'm not sure. Were you part of the group that wiped to carry 1? We saw quite a few of those today.
I was not. I don't know what it might have had.
Carry 1 was just punching for the fences. It was swinging on like everybody for 500 as an attack. So I think you had already completed your ninja grind at that point.
Yeah, I had a 42 ninja with a rune +4, so I was pretty confident in carry. I think I got the katana by that point, actually.
It was a pretty rough fiend, possibly the worst fiend roll of the thing. Over 1,000 HP on that carry.
There is Cyrenus finishing with an official time of 1:08:06.
Congratulations to Cyrenus, coming in 3rd place overall and starting off bin 2, looks like.
Life Reboot down to the man mode strats.
Yep. He does have the buffs up, so it looks like this is already going through. Yep. And Life Reboot just finishing only 34 seconds behind with an official time of 1:08:40. Also in bin 2. And off stream, we also have a 3rd person coming in at the same time of this pack, Mr. Ibis, finishing at 1:08:54 in 5th place for bin 2 once again. It's a crowded front end today, that's for sure. Certainly, previously in this tournament, we've seen a lot of single people in bin 1 and bin 2 pulling ahead. But today, everyone's got a nice pack. I see we've pulled in Life Reboot here for another interview. Hi, Life Reboot. How's it going? How's your run?
Hello. GG, everyone. I thought I was doing really well, and if things had played out differently against Carry 1 and Kraken 1, both of whom I died to, I might have been very ahead of the pack. I don't know.
Well, you certainly weren't alone in that. Almost everyone we saw wiped to Carry 1. Some people multiple times. It was absolutely brutal for anyone who didn't do a grind in advance. So there were definitely some rough spots there.
Yeah, she was very punchy. But once I saw, that was the case, I had already done a pop grind. I had charges of fade. I just needed to ruse up on my white mage to get the win.
Yeah. We also noticed you were the only one that we saw heading up to the northeast of Provoca to pick up a few early levels. How do you feel that worked out for you?
I like that strat and these flags just fine. Because of the free canoe, I go clockwise around the inner sea, and I like to just stop there in case I end up in volcano or ice for whatever reason. It's sensible to me, we'll see if anyone else picks up that strategy in the future.
We are also now joined in the booth by Cyrinus. GG Cyrinus.
Cyrinus, infamously the most attractive racer on the most attractive team. As an unbiased commentator, I can guarantee this 100%. Good race, Cyrinus.
That was a big old mess.
How did you feel going into Marsh and getting those zombies and ghouls crack wiping you?
Not good, although the first thing I saw was the wolves thundering me, but yeah, in general, Marsh was just no thank you.
It was certainly a trip for, I'd say a lot of people, but there was some people who just walked through it and didn't see either the thunder or the crack, period, which was a free ride.
Yeah, that's the nature of our game. There's always going to be that person that didn't see the thing.
This is true. Part of the randomizer experience. Let's see. You did end up choosing to go to Earth Cave. I thought I had something to mention there, but I don't actually have anything. Anything cool or interesting about your run that you want to talk about?
No, that was just nasty. I wish I had a black mage. I sure would have liked to have had fast.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
was-
we had black mages and we didn't have fast.
Wow, okay. I was also really hoping to find a knight behind one of the things, but that just wasn't in the cards today.
Yeah, no knights, no black belts today. But a lot of mages. Pretty rough on the red mages in terms of fast being level 8, harm 4 being level 8, nuke being level 8, invis 2 being level 7, exit being level 7, heal 3 being level 7. Like lots of top-loaded spells that you really wanted to pick up either early in the run or before Topher, and just like you couldn't, right?
Yeah, it was definitely unpleasant. I assume there was probably better weapons out there too than that mage stick. I mean, whatever it is that you bash mages with.
The rune +4, yeah.
There were katana +4s in Sky 6-pack and in Dwarf Armory.
Ah, see, I went to dwarves too soon then. Oh well.
The katana +4 was a pretty strong carry, but you made it through regardless, so not much to complain about there.
Yeah, it was a little scary there against Chaos. I was like, I really don't want to do Topher again. Just please let him die. I just want to be done.
Yeah. You did see quite a few nukes. Not the happiest Chaos roll for you.
In general, though, it's been a great fall event. Yeah, fall league. I've really enjoyed it this year. Fall league's always one of my favorites. I love the variety we see.
Yeah, absolutely. Each week has been definitely a very different experience, and from the sounds of it, next week is going to be even kookier than all the previous weeks. So perhaps we'll see you again in that week as well.
I hope so. In the meantime, GG to Shum and Deadpulse. You all been killing it.
Oh, well, thank you. I have been trying.
Very fast. Absurdly fast. As a new racer, for sure, I run these races, and I've spent a lot of time like working on routing to try to get advantages, any advantage I can take over more experienced racers, and sometimes I go back and I look at my race and I compare it to the experienced racers, and I'm like, I made better decisions here and got luckier here, and like I basically shaved off 20 minutes more than this racer did, and they still beat me by like 10 minutes. They're just 30 minutes faster at moving around the world and like menuing and so forth, and it's really impressive to see those skills in action and how much time you can really save with that really strong ability you guys have.
I mean, it really just comes down to practice, right? Like all those little things are execution. The fact that when you see these big picture time saves, right? Like that's where you're gonna take it and be super competitive here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always great to see this game executed at such a high level. Off stream again, Fred Fuchs coming in 6th place. He's going to be heading up the 3rd bin with a time of 1:15:05.
So one thing I wanted to ask the 3 of you runners who just completed this race, how do you feel about the flag set and specifically the any 3 orb piece of that?
That's a good question, but I'm going to need a second to think on it.
So my perspective, I've run a couple of these as, practices and vetting for the Duckling Weekly and all of that, but I really like how it not only shortens the race a bit because you don't have to get everything, but that you see interesting divergence. And one of the things that we saw here, Shimbabi completed Sky, but didn't go to Earth. Our other runners here completed Earth and, got that early orb. And seeing how that plays into how many incentive locations you check, if you get your go mode early, how many things are you skipping? How do you choose to get your levels, etc.? So that's kind of where I land on it. I think it's really interesting. I'd like to see more of it in the future. Just wasn't sure if that was a universal feeling.
In my experience, at least, I think this is the first race where I have done Sky instead of Earth. Like, Earth almost always goes into the pool just because of where the rod is placed, and you usually hit go mode pretty early. And Sky only ever really became a check for me if I wanted a party member. It just so happened that I wanted to loot Goblin this evening. So Sky was definitely the choice. But it's really hard to convince yourself of going into an early Fiend dungeon just for the orb when they're not incentivized also. And with this XP scaling, it kind of pushes you around the world, so it feels like a full clear simulator anyway.
Yeah, and that sort of does tend to happen in any seed where you have a more difficult ending, right? Where you needed so much stuff that you got to go a lot of places anyways, and it becomes a choice of where do you go for most advantage. Certainly, I don't know how many of you guys were here during Feedback Week's last day, but we ended up one of any specific orb on that day, and that was a bit of something.
I'm not a big fan of just one orb kind of things, but like the interplay that comes up because of any 3 or specific 3 can change the dynamics pretty significantly. I think that would be even more true in entrance floor shuffle, where you might not even need the chime or the cube or the rod in order to get your orbs. It opens up some interesting possibilities in the same way that Shard Hunt opens up the possibility of not having to clear as many things. So I don't know. I have really good feelings about that particular flag. I would like to see more of it. I'm just interested what more of the racing community thinks on it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I do think, in general, it's interesting to have a lot of variety in these races, which is what Fall League does best, and like seeing some of these things gives us a really good feel for what kind of races we might want to see in a tournament where the flag set is always the same the whole way, like the spring tournament or whatnot, which I haven't been around for because I only started racing a month ago.
I believe it's now called the Winter Tournament.
It's now called the Winter Tournament. I see.
It will be. It will be.
As a Canadian, it was always in winter for me, so it's fine.
So in 2023, we are making some adjustments to the calendar, and that was brought up a few weeks ago. And it's partially to make sure that there's time for the racers and the crew to decompress after tournaments, partly to make sure that we have space for like weekly casual races. It's felt very busy for the last 2 years. I know that Shumbabi has done a much better job of keeping up with it than I have, because Shum, have you missed a tournament in the last year and a half?
I actually took a break last spring tournament. I was like, that one will definitely push me over the edge if I commit to this kind of the length of the tournament. So yeah, I did skip out on spring, and I actually missed co-op also because I had some vacations planned for the summer. So the front half of my year was pretty clear. I just sort of did some pickup races here and there and played off on the side as the challenge lead. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to get back into the racing and hopefully continuing through Fall League and into the next stuff.
And we look forward to seeing you in the future races and maybe up on those winner podiums.
It would be nice. It's been a while.
Hopping back on stream for just a second, we have J-Lo here, who's doing his ice cave checks for Adamant. Adamant, of course, leading to the loot. Definitely the hardest to find item in this seed. Absolutely necessary for everyone. So he should be getting on his way quite soon as well. Off stream, we have Tarnin, who has finished at 119.37. I believe this is just out of reach for bin 3 and will be into bin 4. And Adam Droop, or ADR, has finished at 122.37 with an official time, which should be in the same bin as Tarnin.
I will say it was interesting seeing the clustering in bins 1 and 2 for this particular seed, and I knew that there was going to be a lot of competition for those top spots. It's just great to see that it was really tight clustering for 5 people to finish in the first 2 bins.
I think Marsh and what you're telling me of Carrie had a lot to do with that, right? When certain people get knocked back a peg and then others just sort of miss that random chance, it sort of smushes people together, I think.
Yeah.
I forgot all about Carrie. Thanks for reminding me.
I don't know what anyone is talking about. I went in with a 42 Ninja and there was no carry.
Everyone else we saw on stream wiped a carry at least once, and I was keeping tabs on racers off stream as well, and I saw at least 2 other wipes to carry, and then who knows how many others I missed, so it was a pretty high roll feat.
So out of curiosity, is everyone going Volcano and such an early carry for the loot specifically? I mean, LOOT loot?
No,
I choose
just
carry
kinda did
because
it
it's a free orb of the 3 that you need without any gate to get to her. So that's my thinking.
We had a couple of fades and a decent sword. It's like, maybe I can take her out and not have to come back here.
Yeah, and I mean, typically you can, though I'm not sure, was that Cyrnus who said that? I think you went into Volcano the first time at level 8, so that's a bit low for me, even with 2 fades. But
Well, that first
I
dive
was
was just for
praying.
the armory, right?
well, no, because they went back in after that, right? That was their first wipe.
Yeah. I went into the armory, just kind of poked around, gained a level or 2, went back out, used the house that was in the armory, and then ran for carry, and did carry things.
It was pretty
I
punchy.
should say did Kraken things.
This is true.
I'm curious where Shumbabi got the early levels.
Once I hit 15, I started doing locked door checks, and so Northwest Castle had an eye tile that was giving me 9,000 a kill.
Gotcha. So I I stopped around 13 or 14, thinking I would get the 15th level for my thief to have a key. Like at some point, as I was just moving around, and I didn't. So that's the difference. That I did find the eye tile, but it was before I went to Topher.
Yeah, we saw you grinding frost dragons there for quite a while in Earth before deciding I just can't take this anymore and heading off to Northwest Castle, which just happened to be the ice tile or the eye tile. So that's great.
Yeah, I don't want to imagine the seat if I didn't see the eye tile.
J-Lo here, heading into Topher, got everything they need. They're a little low on levels compared to everyone else, so they might struggle a bit, but luckily there wasn't much that was too difficult besides the nukes on Chaos. So if you can avoid those, he's still in good shape.
First turn Kraken nuke was also a thing.
I did not see that.
I think JLo is taking some levels before dropping, just using the first floor of Topher to take encounters here.
Certainly looks like it. Especially against some slimes with the 2 Thor hammers makes it not too difficult to take.
I want to touch on the flags a little bit. I haven't gotten a turn, but
yeah, go for it.
The flags specifically seem like a test of improvisation to me, where with the kind of restrictive starting party and then potential for, routing differences with what orb that you decide to skip. And, with the tail out there somewhere and potential to replace one of your characters with something that's behind an orb that you can pick up and replace a party member. It's just a lot of it is sort of rolling with the punches. And if you see a black belt, I don't even know if it's always the best choice to take it. It's very, very interesting, this flag set. I like it.
Yeah, I was talking about that very issue with Dead Pulse, which is when exactly do you take a black belt? When do you swap out one of your existing characters for a black belt, especially if it's Thief, who has the lockpicking? There's the party bits of this seed are particularly interesting, not just the 3 orb, in how you choose to manage your party and what shows up in availability and how you can prepare for things to be available or not available.
Definitely.
The clamped stats on this one is deceptively hard when you get to Topher. I think over the last 3 weeks, this is the first time we've had a long Topher, and so it also feels like a lot of people may have forgotten just how resource intensive something with that high of scaling actually is.
I agree. And it's not just the bosses that you have to worry about. Sometimes the seafloor, with the scaling on the just regular enemies, can be very destructive.
Not to mention the scripts, right? Because one of the things that certainly has happened and has tripped up a bunch of people is the fact that we have the random status effects added to scripts, which means you do get those ghouls that have crack, and you do get some particularly nasty stuff that you might not see in some other seeds, flag sets, just out of the random enemies. And when they have twice as much HP as well and are likely to ambush you on top of that, it's a bit spicy.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, I just assume that every encounter has blaze or nuke or thunder or something like that until I see that it doesn't. At this point, I don't even read the flags because it's just rando's gonna rando and something's gonna come my way that's gonna reset my progress. So I'm just always on edge.
I think I'm right there with you, Shu. I mean, that's one
I
of
don't
the
know.
things.
I seem to recall you telling me that there was a really soft lich the other day. And
some days you get very soft liches, and some days you don't, and that's just how it is. And sometimes they're soft to one runner and not at all to the next. Well, we finally found the thing that'll stone people, and it stoned JLo's ninja instead of one of the white mages. Very unfortunate.
I have a question. I thought I heard that Cyranus did not find the katana +4. What were you swinging instead?
Just the rune +4.
Ah,
Yeah, I would have absolutely loved a katana +4. Thank you.
Twinge's uneven luck with poison smoke. Don't know if you saw this, but in Twinge's last race, everyone else passed through quite easily, and he got poison smoked to death and completely wiped on, I can't remember exactly what, in Tofu, if I recall correctly. And it was terrible.
So I do want to ask a semi-random question. I don't know if maybe I should just use the dice bot to figure this out. But, as people may be aware, I've been putting up Duckling Weeklies as practices for the different flag sets of Fall League. I just put up the semi-final flags today, but I'm trying to think about the finals flags, because I think that there's a lot of value in trying out different things and figuring out how it works. But the finals flags are relay flags. And so I'm in this awkward position of, what position do I want our folks to practice in? Do we want a, first runner of the relay, so you just have to get your first orb and pass the baton and call it good when you found one fiend and killed them? Go for two and provide those spoilers. What do people think on that?
Obviously, single person 4-run marathon seed. I think that's Duckling friendly, right?
Honestly, I think the Ducks should be encouraged to grab a friend, even if that friend is a platypus or a more veteran player, and just try it out as a two-person co-op. So that way you have that kind of back and forth dialogue, and you start to really get the feel for those flags, because they're kind of designed in a way to make you feel overpowered and catch you up very quick. So I think that just running it without that kind of insight of somebody else feeding you that information it's not going to feel much different than a free enterprise.
I follow you. Cyranus Life Reboot, either of you have opinions on that?
I would probably just say run the whole relay as an individual, but I don't have friends. So.
Yeah, there's really nothing quite like it other than actually grabbing somebody and at least running a duo through it.
Yeah, one of my thoughts is like, just if I say, your teammate has done this and you've gotten this information, go kill a different fiend than them and like see what happens with that. So that's kind of what I was pondering at, is like, because I know that not a lot of people have the scheduling availability to do something with somebody else and whatnot. So I don't know, just one of those things I've been considering, because I want everybody to have some sort of experience with it.
Oh yeah, they're definitely fun, but I do think that a lot of the fun is baked into group play.
Yeah, group play is certainly the most interesting aspect of the flag set, and as a racer who is never going to get into the finals, I'm still interested in trying that out.
I mean, by all means, we should have some sort of exhibition weekend where everybody can kind of jump in and do that.
We have the charity marathon coming up. We should obviously just make an entire community relay race with 40 racers, each racing one leg.
How do you even break that up?
With great difficulty.
I got 5 chests. That's my leg.
your Racer 40, please be on hand sometime between 1 hour and 6 hours from now. We don't know exactly when. Yeah. Each key item, each orb, shard hunt. In the middle, we can swap some people, do Mystic Quest Randomizer, and do an archipelago or something. Seems to be a meme.
Just going to comment on an interesting play by JLo just now. He chose to exit. And I think it was after Kraken.
Yeah, looks like he was not feeling too confident and wanted to go back and not have to refight fiends.
Well, you still have to fight them. They're spike tiles. But, I mean, if you're trying to save levels that you got on the way through, or something like that.
Yep. Could be.
So it looks like we are thinking about sending a raid over to JLo's channel in just a moment here. So want to get through final thoughts from each of our runners. Shumbabi, first place. Final thoughts.
Oh, this has just been a blast to play. I look forward to it. I want to say every Monday. I don't know that I'm going to be able to race on Halloween if we wind up making it to next week, but we'll see. And thank you all, comms and crew, for putting this whole thing together. And looks like you got a ton of viewers, so thank you to the viewership on RPG Limit Break. And I saw some people chatting about starting their racing and learning how to run the game. So please get into the Discord and reach out to people. We love to help and bring up new ducks.
Heck yeah.
Thanks. Great to have you racing as well. Cyrnus, second place on stream. Final thoughts? Cyrnus possibly gone AWOL here. It's been a long race. Live Reboot, third place on stream. Any thoughts? Final thoughts to send us out home with?
A quick GG again to Shumbabi and all the racers. I'll echo what Shumbabi is saying, where if you are interested in Final Fantasy Randomizer, join the Discord. It's a great community. Been involved a little over 3 years now, and been quite the treat to find people that are interested in using all these different levers and knobs to create a different experience from the original game. Which, if you enjoy the original game, you're bound to enjoy the randomizer. Come join us.
Thanks, and we look forward to seeing a bunch of viewers joining the community. Make sure to click some of those links that we've posted up top. And if anyone has a bot link that they can respam, you can join us in our Discord. That's where most of us hang out. You can get there through the Final Fantasy Randomizer website, which is at finalfantasyrandomizer.com. And thanks everyone for coming out and cheering on our racers.